G'day campers and welcome to another Thursday night live around the campfire on Are You OK Day. What a fantastic day and what a privilege it is for me today to have a conversation with three people who have actually taken the time at some stage in my journey in life just to check on me, just touch base with me and say, hey, are you okay at the moment? So I'm privileged for that. Tonight on the panel, we've got Arnie Shazza, Sharon Chemello, who's a teacher, mum of two millennials and half their mates, life coach for families who helps them face challenges, teach people how to come from adversity and deal with anxiety and depression. She's always coming from her big, beautiful heart. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you.
No worries. And we've got Russell Reeves, who is a professional counsellor, a Cert 4 trainer and assessor, trained and assessed counselling diploma student nationally and internationally, specialising in workplace counselling as well as relationships, habitats and emotional opportunities. His practice included several therapies as well as hypnotherapy. He was also a counsellor for carers in New South Wales and is a trained horticulturalist. Welcome, Russell.
I'm also a remedial massage.
Oh no, we got him back. Welcome, Russell.
Delayed.
No, I'm here.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
We've also got John Feeney from down there in Melbourne. John's a proud father of two beautiful girls, social media manager, and the founder of the Hiking Society. Welcome, John.
Thanks very much, Scotty. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to it.
No worries. This is your first panel. So
it is, yeah.
And
no worries.
and look, what a great opportunity. You know, Are You OK Day? It's, we're getting towards the end of it, and a lot of people have been ringing around checking in on their mates, and it's so damn important. So I'm going to ask each of you, I'm going to start with Arnie Shaz, if that's all right.
Sure.
What have you done today?
Well, I am working currently at a special needs high school with about 70% of the clientele are special needs. So it's a very interesting gig, a very tough gig. It is not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah.
You need to be very experienced and you need to know how to come from love and make those kids feel special at the same time as setting boundaries for them, that, calling a teacher an effing C is probably not going to go down too well.
Yeah, fair due too.
But you build a rapport with them so that doesn't happen,
Yeah.
And so we had a whole day about Are You OK? So I'm wearing my shirt. There it is.
Hey.
And we had activities for the kids. We've had them all week, and we've taught them how to ask the questions that come after Are You OK?
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are those
good
questions?
day.
What are those questions?
And that's the interesting part is, if someone says no, and last year's campaign was it's okay not to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this year's campaign is, well, if they do say no, what do you say then? So it's questions like, how can I help? Or do you want to talk about it? Trying not to go straight to fixing it, but getting them to tell you more and to listen without trying to fix it. And then eventually maybe making some suggestions as to who they could see for help.
Yeah.
And then following up. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, making
Brilliant.
sure they're okay. Yep.
No, awesome. Thank you. Russell.
You're welcome.
Russell, how did you spend your Are You OK Day? Who did you reach out to today?
Oh, well, mostly my family that I've been in touch with. I have family that have special needs.
Yep.
But my day was making a rocker for my great-grandchildren.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we got you. It's just a little bit
good. Out of sync, am I?
No,
okay.
Perfect, right?
So I'm perfect, and I'm always perfect.
You are.
So because of the experiences I've had, I've seen many people, of course, have issues, and today in particular, I'm thinking about those in other states that are having issues, and there are a lot of special needs out there at the moment for people to be okay. Very, very hard times. My life now, because I'm 2 weeks off 74, I do a lot of work. I'm working on some things, nothing to do with Are You Okay?
Well, we lost you for the back end there.
I must be really behind.
None. You're not too bad. I think we're just fading
Okay.
in now. So we'll see how we go with that. And so I will just pass over to John quickly. John, how did you spend your day today?
Well, working like probably a large majority of the people here in Victoria. Obviously, most of us at home, but I reached out to my folks who live not probably about a good half an hour away from me, so I haven't been able to see them in quite some time, just to check in how they're going. And a friend of mine who I actually hadn't seen for about a year. We used to hike quite a lot together, and hadn't seen her for about a good year. And like we've chatted over social media and all that sort of stuff, but in actually seeing each other face to face, albeit in a video platform, so that was good.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I've just had a quick question pop up, and I probably should have started with this.
All right.
Are you okay? How are you today, Sharon? Are you okay?
Well, that's so nice. Thank you, Facebook user.
Yeah.
Some of my kids asked me that as I walked in this morning. And these days I'm pretty okay most of the time. But there was a time a few years back where I was so not okay. I was really in some very dark places. So that's why I have studied personal development and coaching for the last 5-6 years. Yeah, to get myself to a place where I generally am okay. And now I'm paying it forward and helping others with those strategies that you can use to be okay.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. And you do a lot of great work. So thank you for that. Oh, that's so good.
Thank you.
Russell, are you okay today?
In general, I could say yes, but because I probably watch too much of what's happening in society, I do get concerned. I'm a bit of a worrier about people, and so I guess as an older person, it is watching what's happening to not just our country but the world, and I can appreciate what's happening with people wherever they may be and the concerns they have. And so hopefully tonight we'll be able to share some strategies and some ideas to help those that are watching the program.
Yeah, brilliant. Do you mind if I ask you, because I really value your opinion, what are the things that are making you a little bit not so sure at the minute?
Well, I think what happens is the uncertainty of where we're heading, and that's what I think generally people will be concerned about. Uncertainty when we're going to come out of this situation we're in. It's unprecedented. I mean, my year started from being down at Perisher when the fires were on, and I left there on May. We had a special time with family, and since then it's just been all these dramas that are happening, and it's just escalated by going wherever we are. It concerns me when I go out shopping. It concerns me when I go to the bank. You're getting up, and yesterday I went to put a form in at the RTA, and so I had to line up out the door. There was 20 people out the door, and there was 25 allowed in. So all these things are playing on my mind, and I'm sure they're playing on other people's mind. But somewhere out of that, we've just have to find a solution, able to resolve our needs.
So, what advice would you have for yourself at the moment? Because, look, it is an interesting time at the moment. We've got all sorts of opportunities. John and I are down in Melbourne, and we're right in the thick of it at the minute. So, what would your advice be to yourself?
Yeah. Well, for myself, throw away my phone, away my tablet, throw away my internet, just go out in my yard and enjoy my garden and enjoy my making things out in my garage.
Yeah, brilliant. That's brilliant, and I love that. And we're going to get into that a little bit later because it's, how do we not go bonkers in this current climate? Because that's something at the moment that's, it's a big strain on a lot of people emotionally and, jobs and everything. So we will dive into that in a little bit. Thank you for that, Russell. John, are you okay?
Yeah, I think generally I am. I think like most people, as Sharon said before, like you have your up days and your down days, and I think for myself, it's probably more up than down. And then on the down days, I've just got to, I don't know, not so much ride the wave, but just work on ways on how to get through it, or just remind myself of the good stuff that's actually happening previous to that day or prior to that day, or stuff that's to come. And as you mentioned at the start, like I own a hiking company, so I get out, used to getting out quite regularly, and I haven't been on a good solid walk in a number of months. So those sorts of things, that's all I'm itching to do. Like I just want to get out and breathe the fresh air for longer than an hour, and then further than 5 kilometres. But that's something I can't do at the moment. So I've had to readjust my thinking on a number of things, and just keep myself busy, but also keep it balanced as well, because as busy as I am, there are times where I just need some downtime and just switch off for a little bit and then get back into it.
Yeah, brilliant. Like, and that's interesting because one of the things that I adore about you, and we discussed it in our one-on-one, was the fact that you would love to see doctors prescribe 10 passes to come and spend the day with you hiking, because it's one of the best things. And for you not to be able to have your own medicine at the moment, it's definitely a fair opportunity, So that must be sitting with you a little bit.
Yeah, it is. And look, a little bit like Russell was saying that, there is uncertainty. Like I would argue, even though we've got this roadmap down here in Victoria, like I'd be really surprised if I was out hiking again by December, like without trying to put a negative slant on it. I'm just, I'm very much a realist. So it does weigh on me a little bit that I won't be able to maybe go out hiking till maybe early next year or whatever. But I say that, and then I look at the other way, and I go, in some respects, things could be so much more worse. Like you think about these other countries, and there's some of the stuff that's going on with them, and I just go, Jesus, we're lucky. Like you hear about, for instance, when India first went into lockdown, like the police were literally marching people into their houses, and these people didn't even know that they were going to lockdown because the lockdown announcement only happened like 2 seconds earlier, and they're running around the street whacking these people to tell them to get in the house. Like, can you imagine if that was happening here in Australia? It'd be chaos. It's that balance of, yes, things aren't so good, and there's lots of uncertainty, and there's lots of awful things happening at the moment. But at the same time, I just go, it could be so much worse.
Yeah, great way to look at it too, because I'm going to ask myself the same question. Am I okay? And thank you. Because at the moment there's real challenges, and down here in Melbourne, I've chosen to not plow head on into work and opportunities and try and support my family because Marcella's working from home. The last 2 weeks we haven't had the internet, hence not doing last week. And that's been a challenge in itself, because we're coming in on the phones. Marcella does accounting for an accounting firm with a lot of real estate companies, and she needs the internet. If the money's not working right, a lot of people rely on that. So it's added a lot of tension to our lives, and that in itself has been a new opportunity, And with Sunday sessions for me, I haven't had Sunday sessions for ages, and that's my fuel. Sunday sessions is where I get my energy and the love I can give to people, and just really get together. So and what I do within my community is I help men who are in interesting opportunities, and it's been a heavy time of late. Like I've had one gorgeous young child, 10 years old, didn't want to be here, and to sit with him and have a conversation and get him through was an interesting opportunity. So there's a lot going on at the moment, and especially in Melbourne, and I have to focus on what I can focus on, which is me. I've built a billy cart with Oscar, and we've been racing up and down the street on the billy cart. Same as Russell, like get out in the shed and do things for me. Get off the media side of things and just focus a little bit. So, am I okay? Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Got a bit. It's an interesting thing, because when people say, are you okay? You can't just leave it at that. Hear the answer, and then get in some more depth with it, because quite often there's a lot more to the story.
Mm-hmm.
So, if it's all right with everybody, I'm going to Arnie Shows, did you find any information on the guy who started Are You Okay Day?
No, but I'm onto it.
No, it's all good. Doesn't matter. We'll get to it later, because
I'll find it as we go along. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all good. So one of the questions I put to the panel earlier during things, are you comfortable coming in as you are, Russell, or did you prefer to come in off your phone?
No, he's gone silent. Oh dear.
Might need the phone.
Hang on. Try that now, Russell. See how we go.
Try.
Yeah. Do you want to try and come in again off your phone?
I'm just concerned that I'll try my phone. Yep.
Yeah. Is that all right?
Will do.
Thank you.
Kick me off.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Like this is life at the minute. Some things work, some things don't. And the big word at the moment is pivot. Everybody's trying to pivot and do different things, but I think the key to it is actually doing less rather than pivoting. Just working out what it is we've got to do and then go from there.
Yeah.
All right. So if I go down here and click on this, and I add to stream, and then I get rid of Russ.
There he is.
I'm on my phone.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That's much better. Thank you.
Oh, there we go. That's much better. Thank you.
Okay, I'll turn my laptop off.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, we'll get there. Like, do you know one of the things I love, Russell, is when you're on here, things don't always go right, and we always keep persisting. And look, it's just such a good analogy for life at the moment. Like it is like things don't go right, and we just got to keep working to get through them, Well, it's like this now, like it's
that's
just
too close. Back it up.
There you go.
I dropped my phone.
My wrinkle cream.
I love it.
I was trying to turn it over because I can put it down on the there. Now I can just leave it there.
Yeah, beautiful. All right, so let's jump into it. And listen, if you're watching right now, thank you for your patience. And it's look, there's a lot of good that's going to come out of this conversation. A lot of good that's already been there, but it's really interesting. Like we're all in Australia, and tensions are high across the board. And so the question I've got to everybody now is, how do you not go bonkers? I'm actually going to start with you, please, John.
How do we not go bonkers? I think, I think it's what I sort of was referencing before. I think it's that balance, and it's that discipline to remove yourself from situations for instance, being on your phone all the time, watching the news all the time, reading the newspaper all the time about what's going on, because it's so many updates. Whether you're on social media, whether you're watching the daily news bulletins, where you're waking up every morning to flick on and see what the numbers are. I think there's that that discipline to pull yourself away from it and try and disconnect if you can, even if it's just for a day. I think if it's just for a day, that's a massive win, because you've given yourself permission and you've given yourself a break to get away from all the stuff that, you know what, it's going to be there tomorrow. So it doesn't matter if you take a break from it and just switch off. And I think that's a good thing. And I think it's interesting. Like, I've been talking to people about a lot of this stuff as well, and finding the good in everything and not trying to dwell on the negative. And it's very easy to do. And I've got complete empathy for people who are dwelling on the negative, because it is, I think we've all, we can all agree, it's a pretty tough time. But I think if you can try and find a positive in something that's going on at the moment, and it doesn't matter if it's massive or it's really small, any little percentage that's heading back into that positive sector, I think is worth holding on to and worth acknowledging. So I think for me that's how I'm trying to keep it all together and just see the positive in a few things here and there.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Arnie Shaz.
Yeah, a lot of people are calling it an awakening. Life has just been turned on its head, hasn't it, for everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, even those of us up here in sunny Queensland, I've got someone currently dying in the nursing home, and we had to apply for a compassion visit to go and see her, but we weren't allowed to see her for the last 2 weeks. And things like that. So even in Queensland, we can go walking and exercising and what have you, and go to the beach, which is lovely. And we really empathise with those of you in Melbourne who can't do a lot of those things. But even up here, there's a lot of restrictions and a lot of changes for everybody. And doesn't matter if it's in your workplace or your school or your neighbourhood. I think everybody's been affected in different ways, and it really has changed our lives and made us, I think, hopefully think about what really is important: your health, your family, your friends, hiking, what are the important things that keep us grounded, and how do we do more of that, whether we are in lockdown or what? Can you just walk around in your bare feet on your grass outside, or lay on the grass and look at clouds like we used to do when we were kids? What things can we do to earth us and ground us? And I think the whole world is facing this awakening to what's important, what's really important to us. And it's not the media. Sorry, John, I know you work in social media.
That's fine.
Yeah, it's not the television set, and it's not the numbers. There are other numbers that are equally as important. The suicide rate, for example, and that's where today Are You OK was so important, and is all year long. But being able to see family and friends and funerals and weddings and parties, and what's important to us, and I think that's what we need to focus on and try to achieve those things as best we can. Yeah,
that's brilliant. Like, I loved hearing just then, lying down in the grass, looking up at the sky, and
you got to do it, mate.
Looking at the clouds, and took me straight back.
Do it with Oscar and just lay there, and you've got to identify, there goes the Easter Bunny or whatever. It's great fun. Do it all the time. It's great.
Knowing Oscar, it'll be rainbows and unicorns we'll be chasing.
Oh, he'll find them. He'll find them.
I'm sure he will.
Girls, John, you got to do it with the girls. And Russell, do you have grandchildren, Russell?
I've got 7 grandchildren and 3 great-grandchildren.
There you go.
So I want pictures of you laying on the grass looking at clouds.
Army of cloud chasers.
That's it.
In my wrestling outfit.
Yes.
please, definitely, definitely.
Did you bring your wrestling outfit with you today, Russell? Like, I
Yeah. I just got to take my shirt off.
there was a bit of banter going on earlier between Russell and myself, and he sent me some videos of him in his early days. So I'll see if I can bring it up shortly. I'll just see if I can find the video of Russell in his early days.
That's great.
I hope some of the people that I've invited to come on to this are not watching me at the moment.
What was that? I'm sorry. Was that it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, was that Russell in his early days?
Yeah. I took out a dozen people that day.
Oh, that was a brilliant dive. Oh, I love it. You've got to have a giggle.
In style.
So John, Russell, flicking over to you.
Yeah.
How do you stop going bonkers? Thank you,
Well,
Sharon.
Well, we've got to come to terms with what we're doing and where we're living at the moment. You know, socializing is a difficult circumstance at the moment. You know, we're in New South Wales, so we're not as restricted as what you are in Melbourne, and so with the mask, we don't have to wear a mask if we don't want to. A lot of people are wearing masks, but not everybody wears masks. The problem with that is also that it creates a problem with our social interaction. I've been having a little joke with some shopkeepers. I'll say, "Look, I don't know what you're saying. I'm deaf," and so they pull their masks down. But we can't. You know, the only expression we can get for people is their eyes.
Yeah.
So we need to, in my opinion, we need to step back and we need to sit down. Probably the best thing to do would be to sit down with a pencil and a bit of paper and work out what your day is going to look like, you know, under the circumstance that you're living, you know, and realize if you're a couple or if you're a family, that the rest of the family is being affected also as you are. Sometimes those who are what we commonly call was the breadwinner, but that can be varied today. They are feeling guilty because they're not at work. So that's another circumstance that got to come to terms with, and also coming out the other end of whatever we may be coming out of. Life is going to be changed, so we need to be prepared for that. We need to look at what we can do and what we can't do and how we can prepare to move forward. But always remember that your neighbour is having the same challenges. Your families are having the same challenges. And so we're not on our lonesome doing this these issues.
Well said.
Sorry?
I was going to say certainly take stock of where you are and what you're at and where you can go. There's always alternatives. They mightn't be what you want at the moment, but you need to say, well, okay, well, what can I do?
Yeah, I really like that, and I like the fact that you're taking stock each morning and putting a plan together for what you're going to do, because it gives you some direction. Because I don't know how you're finding it, John, but you know, there's been times where it's become a bit of a groundhog day down here. You know, because, and especially the last few weeks for me, because I've had no internet, I've just gone with the flow. I try to do a bit of a run. You know, I got a fair portion of that in, and it was funny. Like, I'll talk about it quickly because I found I tried to do a 200-kilometer run on a treadmill, and tried to do it over 4 days. And I got 3 days in. I did 156 Ks walk run, and I'd never actually done any treadmill running, and it destroyed my shins and my Achilles. But it was a great analogy for life, because the treadmill kept going and pulling me and pulling me and pulling me and pulling me, or that way, whichever way it is. And I just kept going in the same direction. Thing is, I learned that I actually had the choice whether or not I actually stopped that. just because I put a target out there, and it was no different to, I'm gutted. I was planning. You probably saw me talk about the Sydney run, which I was really looking forward to doing, and I've got all the makings set up and ready to go, and I don't even know if I can leave the state this year, let alone anything else. So I've had to postpone it. But so that's why I had a crack at the run. But the reality is, life will keep pulling at you.
Yeah.
You get to choose when you say, no, I don't need to do this right now. And it was one of the best lessons inside. I had to get 156 kilometres down the road before I could work it out. But that's
you worked it out.
I did, and that's the whole point.
And that's the point. Yep.
Because what actually happened, and I'll talk about it openly here, is I'd actually got off the treadmill and I've gone inside, and normal banter between Marcella and I whatever. But I was tired and I was pushing myself in a direction that I was getting pulled. I bit nasty. And people have arguments. That's life. But I got schooled by my son, and I'm so proud of him. And I'm going to share this proud moment and then get back into it. But so I had the argument with Marcella, and Oscar wasn't happy with it. So he sat down. He's written me an email. Dad, you said this, and this. I'm not acceptable. But not only did he send it to me, he came over to me and said, Dad, I've just sent you an email. I need you to go through it. I've even got a little bit of video of you. I need you to go through it, and then we're going to talk about it, because I want you to understand that's not okay. What a beautiful, beautiful boy. Like, he's such a man. But and it's like, and then I came outside after that, and I actually finished the last couple of Ks of the run, and that's when I said, no, it's enough. And that for me is a great analogy for where we're at the minute. We can all stop. We don't have to keep going the way we're going. We can just stop, take your choice, and actually, respond. But I love Russell's idea of starting up each day with a bit of a plan. If it goes perfect, great. If it doesn't, at least you got something to go forward with.
Could I just add something to what you said?
Yes, please.
One of my favourite movies is Groundhog's Day.
Yes.
Now, within that movie, I know it's fictitious, and facetious, but the movie, his day's going over, and at first he's having a really terrible time with it, and he's frustrated, and he tries then to kill himself, and then he wakes up again, and he goes on, and then the penny dropped, and he started to learn things. And so he had these repeated days that he was able to learn things, which in your lockdown system, you can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, true.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to throw it over to you, actually, John, because we've been in lockdown pretty much since March. So it's a month. It's been a long time. And the rallies have just started, the first one, and the heavy-handedness of the police was quite. Look, I don't know if it's over the top or necessary, but all I know is we've lost a lot of trust in our government and the way in which our society is being run. So people are asking a lot of questions at the minute. So I'm going to ask you, John, what have you learnt since being in lockdown?
That we don't need much to live. To what Sharon was saying before. I got stood down from work. Probably we got sent home to work from home on the 17th of March, I think it was. 10 days later, I got stood down.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was annoyed at the start because I felt my role within my company was necessary, considering we're in the biggest crisis, communication crisis that the world's probably ever seen and probably will ever see. And social media management and marketing and all that is probably necessary. But I soon realised that the first couple of weeks after I got stood down was that, as long as I could eat, I had clothes on my back and a roof over my head. And I understand that there are a lot of people out there who don't have that. And they get their they take the positives out of other things in their life that they're grateful for other things. For me, I was just grateful for the fact that I had a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food on my table, food for my kids, you know, and I was in a very lucky position. But it still taught me that we actually don't need that much. There's like, I look around my lounge room now and there's just so much crap that I don't need.
Yeah.
But I'm still happy. Like, as long as I've got the basics up, mate, and I've always been like that. That's just maybe how I'm wired. But as long as I've got that, man, I'm good. And as someone who's, again, I keep coming back to the hiking stuff. Mate, if I can go out and wander around a forest for 20 Ks and I'm out there for the day and whatever, that's just a drive out to a car park and then wander around. It's very basic, but it's just sometimes that's all it is. And I think the word you used before, Sharon, about it being an awakening, and it's an awakening across a number of things in a number of ways. So it's an awakening that we maybe don't need a lot of things to survive. It's an awakening that maybe we are asking a lot of questions of our government that we haven't asked before. People are starting to switch on to stuff that may have been there for ages, but just it's taken a pandemic for them to start asking these questions. And an awakening that, you know, you realize what matters most and also, you know, and on it goes. So, yeah, I think, that and, you know, resilience and a number of other things I've learned. And, that's kind of where I'm at with it all.
Yeah, brilliant. No, thank you, because like it is Groundhog Day. Like I started.
It is.
So I've got to. Firstly, I just got to address something. There's something that's just popped up, which, you know, a bit of humour. Hey, Scotty, did you get a snorkel with those goggles? So, thank you very much, Tom.
That's not bad, huh? I rate that.
It's nice to be noticed. I just, you know, thanks for noticing the new look.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, like it's funny, you know, like I'm looking around at the moment and things that I'm learning myself at the minute, because I have been questioning myself. And I think Russell was saying it earlier that, you know, like men, I've always been the breadwinner. At the moment, I'm not. And I'm really trying to focus to support Marcella and give her the best opportunity to continue in her employment and study and, you know, and try and move forward and for myself to take responsibility for Oscar and do those things. But reality is that Oscar's actually better with Marcella when they're working near each other, but I do the other things because I'm not as what's the best way to put it? I'm not as strong on making sure he gets his work done. I focus more on, are you okay? Is everything going to be all right? So there's a really good balance between us at the minute. So I've learned that, and I'm actually very grateful for that opportunity, because one of the things for me is just going so much slower has been so much better for me, and it allows me to do what I do best, which is support others, because I've taken on less work. So going forward, I think I'm actually going to focus on that model, you know, especially now, because one of the things that I'm just going to talk about it quickly and then I know we're talking about Are You Okay Day, but we've, you know, transgressed a little bit. The modern lifestyle is just so dependent on dual incomes and the gotta-haves of life, you know, and a lot of people are saying that that's not necessarily the case. And I've sort of come up with what I think is the ideal life, and especially as a man, because I think men these days are getting involved in their children's lives a lot more than what have ever been in any other generation. And I think men are doing an amazing job of it. I truly do, you know. We only got to go back one generation to see how things are so different. Like, you've seen the difference between, like, well, my whole life story is on the campfire. You've seen the relationship with my father. You see the relationship with my son. You know, I work so hard at that. And I often wonder whether or not it's time to look at the structure of the family and go, yeah, okay, we work until we have kids, and then, you know, when the children turn 5, dad stops working. Dad starts doing the things at home. Dad does 6 hours a day, and we start looking at part-time roles for fathers so that they can be the best versions of themselves and give the kids the education that they deserve. Because I'll tell you what, as much as I adore women, you all know that, but I'm really, really proud of fathers for doing what they're doing at the minute. I walk down the beach And the amount of guys down there with their kids and just walking along, and it's just beautiful. So I know this is a bit of Are You OK Day, but I just and I'm so proud of that. I really am, and that's what I'm getting out of this lockdown. I'm getting the people doing that. And Russell was talking before about not being able to see people's faces and not being able to talk. I don't know about you, John, but I'm learning to read people's eyes. I can see smiles in people's eyes, and it is, and I wear my big smiley mask because I wear my smile on the outside. So
it's tough though, the whole eye thing, isn't it? Like I'll be going to the supermarket, I'll let someone through, and I'll kind of look at them, and I'm smiling, but then I'm really, I've got the mask over my mouth. They probably can't even realize. I think hopefully the fact that I've moved aside to let them through is enough, and they'll see that as a positive. But when you sort of look at them, it's sort of it can be pretty tough.
Yeah, definitely. And it's but I think the smile is such an underrated gift we can give each other. And I'm dying to get a hold of somebody high up in McDonald's, and I've actually got to chase somebody up that I know, because I don't know about you guys, but do you remember when I used to go to McDonald's when they first opened, and a smile used to be free on the menu? The bottom corner, smile, free.
Okay.
And I think that's the thing that's missing in life, and I know it's the thing that drives me. Sharon, your input on that?
Yeah. Oh, look, when I say to people on my when I do my lives about mental health, and I used to always do them in the park, and I've got to work out something here, because now I walk Frank's dog and there's dogs barking and it's not working. But I'll have to come up with another solution. But when I was back at my home, I used to just do them in the local park, and I'd say hello to people and smile at them, and then I'd always say to people on the live, always say hello, always say hello. Sometimes you might be the only person that says hello to that person all morning or all day. You don't know what people are dealing with and what they're going through, but give them a smile and say hello, and it raises everybody's happy hormones, and it makes you feel good, as you know the science of it, and and it's just stepping outside of your comfort zone instead of being the person that's walking and scrolling or looking down, just to face the person and give them your best, just to say morning, and that's all it takes, and a big smile. I think it's so important. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
I found the name of the guy who started this this whole program, if you'd like to hear that.
Are You OK Day? Brilliant, share it.
Yeah. So it's an Australian non-profit suicide prevention organisation founded by advertiser Gavin Larkin in 2009. So there you go, John, advertiser. I don't know if, 2009 he would be social media marketing, wouldn't he?
Early stages, yeah.
Yeah, and it revolves around the slogan, Are You OK? Obviously, and advocates for people to have conversations with others. And they have the dedicated day held annually, the second Thursday of September, encouraging Australians to connect with people who have emotional insecurity. Haven't heard that aspect of it, but to address social isolation and promote community cohesiveness. So it's a non-profit organisation. The headquarters are in Sydney, and Gavin Larkin is the founder, and then they have a chairman and other directors. So
very good.
And they tie in with government departments, and I noticed on their Facebook page and their website they have a lot of other community organisations that they work with. So they'll do a video about teenagers, and then it'll refer to reachout.com, and they'll do a video about eating disorders, and then they'll refer to the butterfly effect. So they're very very connected with other groups, support groups. So good stuff.
Suicide's an interesting thing, it's something that we're not allowed to talk about. We say we continually say, suicide's not an option.
Yeah,
it is an option. If it wasn't, it wouldn't happen. So my personal feeling towards it is that we need to talk about it a lot more, because And I'm going to ask for Russell your experience with that before I dive into that.
Oh, my experience started when I was about 8.
Yep.
Wow.
They brought my dad home. He tried to commit suicide. He tried to have a long swim. Yeah, I've had people that I've had dealt with, and suicide is for some people it's their answer, but it's not really the answer. It's because the mess that they leave behind. It's a very emotional thing. We've had a friend recently that said that he was going to end his life, and maybe he's listening, and maybe he needs to know we still care, that he's okay, and that particularly today he's okay. Suicide. So one of the issues that we're facing in these times is there's a lot of cultural things. I'm been involved in a lot of different cultures, and I've been involved in the Greek culture, the Italian culture, the Samoan culture. I'm heavily involved in the Samoan culture, and some of these things that are happening now press on their minds so much that they feel that they're failures, and some of the isolation is very difficult. They can't do what they want to do. They can't go where they want to go and keep their cultural heritage, that, like visiting in hospitals and tending to their lost loved ones, and it is very difficult, and so suicide becomes a way out to stop the pain and the suffering that they're feeling. And anybody out there, you need to just step back and say, well, is this the best solution? Because you leave behind something that is more painful than what you're going through at the moment. And so suicide, one of the things in counselling we consider is ambiguity. Some people don't know or understand their roles. It happens in workplaces. People are the ambiguity of their role in workplaces sometimes. But in families, their role becomes a bit blurred, particularly now. I don't know, Scott, if you cook or sew or do any of those things, but men need to be doing that at the moment. If they're home, learn to cook. If you don't know how to cook, learn to cook. Do your Groundhog Day. Make a cake today. If it doesn't work, make another one tomorrow. So within ethnic communities, I really feel sorry that Australian culture has got enough difficulties, but some of the ethnic communities in these lockdowns, where a large part of their life is social family interaction. And particularly in Melbourne, you've got a large ethnic groups down there that would find it very difficult not being able to interact at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah. So suicide is not the answer.
Yeah.
Do you want to put anything onto that, John? Thank you, Russell.
Oh, look, it's there's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? It's a pretty it's a delicate subject, but it's one I think that we can probably all agree that it needs to be spoken about more. And I know before we started this call, Scott, that we were just briefly chatting about it, and if we can't chat about it in mainstream conversations, what's the point of a day like Are You OK Day? Or what's the point of some of these organizations that are supporting these things? And, we're always being told, especially nowadays, that, men especially need to speak more about it. And then when we try and push it into a mainstream conversation, and I think we can probably all understand what I'm trying to, what I'm getting at here, we get told that it can't be spoken about. Like,
let's not muck around. What are you talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the fact that the media don't report on it. We hear every day our numbers on our cases and the death rates from COVID. The real death rate is the suicide rate. That's the real number that everyone wants to put on the table, because it is a reality. And Russell, you've just given us some examples there, and I'm sure there are many more, and we've all probably dealt with it, in various aspects of our life. I've certainly dealt with it, and I just can't understand how we can have days like this and talk about it so much, and then without it being, Dan Andrews standing up in one of his daily press conferences and articulating those numbers and the plan to deal with it in such a delicate and uncertain time.
And Sharon.
So could I just say, John, maybe that could be a role that you could be playing in your social media now. Maybe you could research that and put it out there.
Absolutely.
We'll share it.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Russell.
That's right. Well, it's 8 people a day in Australia. 8
there you
people every day in Australia. It's an incredible statistic, and it's much higher than COVID. I'm not talking about the cases of COVID, but the deaths, and the suicide rate is on the increase during COVID because people have lost their jobs or not able to see people, or because they've lost their connection. And I talked about it with my class this morning. It was a PC class, which is the first class of the day, and they're from grades 7 to 12. So they're teenagers from 12 to 17, 18. And we talked about, are you okay? And I referred to the suicide rate. I said, did you guys know that 8 people in Australia suicide every day? And, the kids were pretty gobsmacked. Some of them knew the figure. And then little Sebastian, who's grade 7, who's 12 years old, said, I was suicidal once. And I said, did you want to tell us about that, mate? And he opened up about, at his other school, he used to get bullied and they used to smash his head against the wall until it bled. And he became very depressed and suicidal. And that was just one kid in a group of 20 willing to share that. And the other kids, to their credit, gave it full respect. One boy then piped up started to talk about his story too. And I said, darling, just wait. Let's just give Sebastian's story time. Love to hear yours too. But let's just process what Sebastian has just shared with us, which was a very vulnerable, open, honest, amazing share, 12 years old. And this obviously happened back at the other school when he was, the ripe old age of 10 or 11. So for kids that age to be thinking about that is that's why I work in this area. Right. It's just so sad, that a child of that age would feel that bad. But bullying is a huge factor. Online bullying, we all remember the Dolly story, the girl out west that suicided. She was 14. My own daughter lost a good friend of hers at the age of 14. I don't know that bullying was involved, but it's often a big factor. The Indigenous population has a higher figure than the rest of us. The LGBTI population has a higher figure. So a lot of it is our subgroups, is our our groups of people with difference, as you say, Russell. People from other cultures, perhaps. I'm not aware of those figures specifically, but people who are marginalised or different to the mainstream become more vulnerable for various reasons. So that's where we need to put our resources and our energy and our help and our time, to help them find another way.
Yeah, and it's so I deal with a fair bit of it, and and the same thing keeps coming up for me. People don't feel like they can discuss the opportunities they've got in their life through shame and failure.
Yeah.
As a society, we live in a world where everything's got to be perfect. But the reality is the world is not perfect. We are not perfect. It's our imperfections that actually make us human and what make us beautiful.
Yeah.
And this is a subject to me that I think we should all be talking about all the time. Because inside there's a group at the moment called the Victorian Brotherhood who's doing an amazing job. And I can't wait. I've done an interview with Vaughan, which is going to be coming out on Monday. I'm hoping I get a few more of the guys in to have a bit of a chat, because the numbers inside Melbourne for suicide at the moment,
Yeah.
I got a really scary figure the other day. And
Yeah.
the reality is we need to talk. We need to be able to find an area to feel safe and talk about it. But just talking about it now, if you're feeling suicidal, call Lifeline, call Beyond Blue, call Crisis Line, call somebody. There is an answer.
Yeah.
May not have it right away, but there is an answer, because nobody has been through something that someone else hasn't been through before. So I'm just going to pop this one up from Alan, because, and just quickly before we go there, this is something that I'm tired of being downriver, and I want to get upriver, because as a society, there is tools, providing we're going to listen to each other. And one of the things inside the Campfire Project, which I am most proud of, is the fact that no subject is off the table. Yeah. You are free to fail in any conversation. And for me, that is everything moving forward. I have conversations that are not easy, but I have a safe enough place for me to be able to fail forward and actually express that and learn and take that knowledge and then pass it on. These conversations which we're having right now are the important ones to prevent suicide, because it doesn't become suicide if we've got a safe place to talk and safe place to do that. I had a chat with Russell the other day, because, things were getting heavy for me, and I ran up Russell, just a little bit of a chat, just talk about life. And I'm so grateful that's the case. Lance Paccioni talks about knowing your 5 people. Who are the 5 people you can call and go to, and that is just an awesome thing. And I think we'll actually do a panel on suicide, because there's a lot of amazing people that do amazing work inside it. So I'm just going to pop this comment up. More than 5% of all girls between 11 and 15 attempt suicide. Then the boys between 15 and 19 are the highest success rate of actually taking their lives. How do we create a safer environment for everybody to talk? I think the Campfire is a great place to do that. And I'm really hoping that more people get on board and we start talking about a lot of different things, drug addiction, anything. No subject is off the table here. So listen, we've gone, would you believe it? We're already up to an hour. It just flies. When you're around good people doing good things and it's a heart thing and you care about people, time does fly, because it's just, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I'm going to ask everybody tonight, as we close up for tonight, for one bit of advice you could give somebody that isn't okay today. What's one bit of advice you've got for them to help them get through today? Russell.
Look around your circle and pick out somebody who you think you would disappoint or not disappoint, that would be special to you and that they would be sorrowful for anything to happen to you, that you are important to them. Pick out that person that you believe is important to you.
Brilliant. Thank you. And make sure you keep them in the forefront of your mind, yeah?
Absolutely. Daily.
Thank you, Russell. Sharon.
I would encourage people to seek help and to seek help from a good friend, a good mate, but also professional help. Every GP can get you 10 counselling sessions for free. Counsellors, coaches, psychologists, there's so much help out there. Google Black Dog Beyond Blue, Reach Out, Headspace. You know, even if you just put depression in the toolbar, you're going to find so much support there to get you started, to tell you where to go for help. But if you can find someone to talk to that's close to you, I think that's a great starting point, and they'll help you find the help that you need. And that's what that Are You Okay is about, is, you know, having the discussion, listening, and then helping them find support. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you. John?
I'm going to get a bit metaphorical here, and I'm going to say remove every rug in your life. And by that, I mean, obviously, today, Are You Okay Day is asking people that question. And, you know, there's people out there who might have issues, but they tend to just suppress it, push it down, put it under a rug and leave it there, and try to just block it out of their mind, when really it needs to be acknowledged. So I would say to the people out there, remove the rugs and acknowledge what's underneath them, and work towards starting to deal with it.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And I think it's all very apt advice, because, you know, the one thing for me that I would like to throw on top of this is there's no one answer.
Yeah.
There's lots of answers. So you're going to have to go, sometimes you've got to go through a lot, but it's worth it. There is answers. You know, just got to search behind the doors. So, listen, panel, thank you so much for tonight. And I just, you know, I just adore these conversations. You know, we started off with Are You Okay Day. We've dived into a bit further. We've learned how to not, you know, a couple of opportunities about how to not go bonkers. You know, I had shit hung on me by John Hope, which I really appreciate. But the reality is we keep talking. Like now, we're coming up with answers. Just keep talking. So from me to everybody tonight, thank you, Russell. Russell, I love your ability to work with technology and to flip and get around it, and you're doing an awesome job, mate. Thank you very much. Sharon, Auntie Shaz, thank you again. And yeah, thank you. And and John, mate, thanks for being on your first panel. We hope to see you on a fair few more. Good advice. So listen, if you want to reach out to anybody on the panel and you hear something that you want to talk about, reach out to us. We're all available. We're all a part of the Campfire Project, not just to sit on here and talk. We're here to be here for you. We're all giving our acts of service. The Campfire is a free project where we all put in our time and energy free, because we love it. We care about you, and we want to help people get to tomorrow. So, thank you, guys. Thanks, guys. And we'll see you all next week. I've got an absolute cracker next week. I won't announce it just yet, but next week's conversation is going to be a cracker. So
better than this week.
No, this book is perfect. And I'm not gonna let you go on that, because every single week is perfect. Every single week. Every single time I do a Campfire Project opportunity, I learn.
Yeah.
I'm forever grateful for that. Russell, you had something to say?
I will see you in the ring.
Beautiful. Oh. Well, thank you, campers. Take care, and I'll see you all next week.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.
Bye.